Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Global Astronomy Month special. I'm your host, Andrew Fazakis, the Night Sky Guy, here for Astronomers Without Borders. It's been a jam-packed month this April, one event after the other. We hope you're really enjoying yourself throughout the month of April, celebrating the night sky, celebrating our shared heritage in astronomy. It crosses all cultures, all borders are transcended when it comes to looking up at the night sky. And this week, we've got a very special event. You've been hearing about it. We've been talking about it all month long. We teased it at the beginning of the month with our special guest, Dr. Sian Proctor, who is, of course, a SpaceX astronaut and is also an AWB board member, a STEM educator, and is spreading the word, a good word of what greatness that space exploration is to humanity across the board. And I'm really lucky because I've got Dr. Proctor on the line here with me. I'm going to bring her in right away, and we're going to be talking all about, of course, Beauty Without Borders. Let's see if we can get her in here. There she is.
Good
Hello, Cyan.
morning. Good morning, Andrew. How are you this morning?
Doing well. Thank you so much for getting up so early this morning.
It is early, but that's one of the things with astronomy. Sometimes you got to be with the early bird and get up to see something beautiful. And this week is no exception to that. So, although I will say, I got out of bed and the sun was already, it was already pretty light in the sky. So tomorrow I got to get up really early to check out what's happening. And so, but I'm excited to do that. Oh, I
Yeah,
just,
yeah. I mean, but tell us a little bit about your background. We know, SpaceX, and you can. I mean, this is a profound experience of a lifetime for anyone. Maybe you can share some little tidbits of personal information on that, and other things that you're involved in too.
yeah, absolutely. So I was really fortunate last year that I got selected to be part of the Inspiration 4 mission through SpaceX. Inspiration 4 came together as the first all civilian mission to orbit, and I was the mission pilot. So I became the first Black female pilot of a spacecraft last September. And what's interesting is I'm a pilot, but of a Cessna 172. So going to a spacecraft was quite the jump. But I was thinking about that kind of like aviation legacy for women of color, particularly Black females. And it was 100 years ago, 1921, that Bessie Coleman got the courage and nerve to go to France because she couldn't learn to fly here in the United States. She wanted to be a pilot, so she learned French and went over there in 1921 and became the first Black female and Indigenous woman to earn a pilot's license. And then 100 years later, for me to go and become the first Black female pilot of a spacecraft. So just something amazing. And so I rode a Falcon 9 rocket with a Dragon capsule up to space last September. But what's great is I did it as an artist and a poet. So a lot of my art and poetry, well, my art is behind me. And then I've written a bunch of poetry. And so it was a really great experience to have both of the science, because I'm a geoscientist by training, have that technical kind of like science background, but also have the arts. And so my call sign is Leo. And the reason why my crew members gave me the call sign Leo is that they consider me to be a modern day Leonardo da Vinci. So Leo, because I combine science and art. And so I just thought that was fantastic. And I've always loved astronomy. And so I'm just excited about, being able to share my love of astronomy, particularly after coming back. And so what was great was that while we were on orbit, I got to see stars from space. This is some video of me as I've traveled and taught around the world and some of the things that I've done. I'm passionate about the oceans and the sky. And just like you were saying, how we are united under one sky, we're also united by one ocean. And so those are two of my big passions. But of course, sharing the message is also something very important to me. And so I just, as a kid, astronomy is what made me, is one of the reasons why I wanted to be an astronaut. And I just remember, when we were going around the dark side of the earth, because we're orbiting every 90 minutes, I just remember looking out the window and seeing Orion from space and thinking, your orientation is slightly off. It's kind of like when you go, like being in the northern hemisphere and then traveling to the southern hemisphere and looking up at the night sky and being like, okay, that's familiar, but it's not quite the same. And you're like, wait a second, is that right? And your brain is like processing it. So in space, when I got to look out the capsule window, and look at the stars, off to the side of the earth, I'm like, is that Orion? Well, yeah, that's Orion. Its orientation is a little different, but that's Orion. And that was really a special moment for me.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, that's the vantage point that you get from space is so different from, I guess it's different, but at the same time it's the same, right? The sky that you saw, the well, sky, the firmament of stars that you looked out, and without the atmosphere, the blurring
Yeah.
effect of the atmosphere, there must have been, though, strangely familiar too, right? You recognize some of the stars, right?
I did. I did. I definitely, like, I was like, it was one of those things where I was really like, that's Orion, And I was like, yeah, and I could see, and I was like, but again, it's not the same because it was rotated differently from what I'm used to, because it just being in the northern hemisphere and seeing Orion rise, and you're like, but here, the perspective was so foreign because the earth is off to the side and then Orion's tilted on its side, and you're like, wait, and you're moving fast. You only have so much time to think about this, and you're like, wait, okay, yeah, okay, there's the three, yes, okay.
So you kind of get your bearings, right? You do
You
get
gotta
your.
get your bearings, but your brain is like, this is weird. And the closest analogy is, again, going to the southern hemisphere and doing the same thing. For me is, because again, when I've seen Orion in the southern sky and being like, that's not quite the way I'm used to. And then you have to kind of rotate yourself, and you're like, oh yeah, now it looks right,
Yeah, I can imagine. That's there's a lot to figure out, right? Because it's, yeah, when.
Because your brain is just used to, we love patterns, right? That's one of the things that, our brain likes, is to search for patterns in the things that we see. And we become familiar with things. And that's one of the fun things about when we're doing astronomy and looking at, objects that actually change and move, like the planets during the year, and having something like this conjunction, versus the star field that's so far away, and being able to see, how every night, there's a change in their positioning, particularly against the moon. It just gives you that sense of like, okay, everything, we're all moving, and we're all moving through our space and time and the universe, and that orientation. Thinking about how we are oriented, and where we are relative to everything else.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I think also, I mean, it's a great segue with the conjunction, by the way, Cyan. We're getting in there because that's what we're here about today, is that idea. When you brought up the idea of the moon, with the planets and then the stars, there's an amazing depth to space, right? We have
Yeah.
that firmament of stars that appear, quite, the patterns appear quite fixed. But then you have that, in front of that, you have the planets that move
Mhm.
very gracefully over weeks and months, lazily moving across the sky, changing their positions. And that's where the word planetas comes from, right? Is the wanderers, right?
Yeah.
So we can see that. And then you have the moon, which really jumps around from day to day, changing its phases as well, positions. And with this conjunction this week, my oh my, are we seeing all of that movement playing out, right? So why don't we just dive in, Sian? I wanted to set the scene because you went out at the beginning of this month because
Hmm.
we had kind of a whet your appetite kind of event for skywatchers in seeing Mars and I think Saturn come together in a conjunction. And you took a photograph, didn't you?
I did. And
Let
so
me
I don't know, do you have it?
I'm gonna bring it up. Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna just bring it up right there. It's on your Twitter account. I'm showing it there. You've posted
Yes.
it. We shared it as
And
well. But here we got two photos. There's one.
right. Yes. And so, and Venus was really my beacon. I used that, and then I went, to the right of Venus from from the perspective to the right, and once because you can see it was starting to get light out, and that's when things like Mars will start to fade away, and Saturn, but Venus was still bright enough. But what was interesting is then once I had that lined up and my Celestron binoculars, I could go and look and see them. And I will say I got outside early enough when it was dark enough and I could see it. But by the time I got my camera set up to take the photos, the light was creeping in. But what I like is that you can still see the dots of the planets within the circle, and I'm excited, Andrew, because I will admit, since I took that photo, I haven't gotten up early enough to what has been going on. And so tomorrow is my day to get up early. And it's so funny because I have to get up early because I got to go to the airport. I have a 7 a.m. flight. So that means I'm being forced on multiple levels to get up early, go do some astronomy, and then hightail it to the airport. And so I'm excited to see what you've got up, where I can see, and I love how they're lining up so beautifully. But obviously, the distance between Saturn and Mars has now shifted.
Yeah,
Um,
take a look at this. I mean, this is the view basically this morning. So if you had just been up a little bit earlier, this is what would have greeted you, Cyan. You can see it looks quite different from what you saw at the beginning of the month, doesn't it? The Mars
it
and
does.
Yeah, Mars and
Mhm.
Saturn are much farther apart now. They've spread out from each other.
Yep. And again, and what I love about that is, that the planets are on the ecliptic plane. And so just being that lineup of where to look. And once you get used to that, when you learn that, it helps you to be able to figure out where to look in the sky for things. And I guess you can explain more, that they line up.
Yeah, I mean, this is all due to a perspective. So, what I'm going to do is magically, we're going to go into orbit. We're going to go up above the plane of the solar system. So, here we go. We're going to zoom
Yay.
out. We're going to zoom out, and you see each of those colored lines in the background represents the trackway of a planet, a pathway that it
Okay.
follows around the sun. And then we've just zoomed in on Venus. Now we're going to go above the North Pole of Venus, and we're going to look down and on the solar system and start zooming out. That line that cuts across Venus is its orbit that it follows.
Mhm.
And here we're going to start seeing the individual circles. There we go. Look at that. So we're going to see all, and
Oh,
of
that's
course, the back.
amazing.
Isn't that beautiful? In background, we have, of course, the Milky Way. We have some constellations, but there's the entire solar system. But I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you see the inner solar system and the outer solar system. So here we have, look at where Earth is, right? We're over
Look.
here. There's the sun at the center, of course. And then you have Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Now think of what we're seeing in the sky from our vantage point. We're here on our
Mhm.
planet. We're able to see this. I'm going to kind of go off back towards through the plane, and you can see here from our vantage point, in the morning skies, we would see Venus and Mars and Jupiter are way over here. And this is why Jupiter and Venus look close from our vantage point. Right
Right.
here, if I'm zooming in,
They
you
almost
can
look like
see
they're in a line together.
exactly.
Like,
But look, it's an optical illusion that Venus and Jupiter are so close together, right? I mean, it's
mhm.
simply because of our vantage point. They look like they're, in fact, by April 30th, the end of this week, by Friday, Saturday this week, folks will be able to see Venus and Jupiter practically touching. They'll only be about 30 arc minutes apart, which means they'll be separated by just about the same amount of space as the width of a disk of the full moon. That's about
That's
how much
beautiful.
space. So to the naked eye, they'll be very close together, but of course they're separated by hundreds of millions of kilometers or miles, right? Hundreds, because look at that
That's
vast.
just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got Mars, and then you have Saturn way out there. Saturn's about 1.2 billion kilometers away. So you can see, and Mars is what, something like 100 million kilometers or something like that, right?
Yeah, and then if you zoom out even more, is Neptune in the back, but you can't see Neptune with this naked
That's
eye.
right.
But
That's right.
it's in there, just so we
It's
know.
Yeah, it's in there, but see Neptune's so faint. You need a telescope really to grab
You
hold of
need a
it.
really good telescope
Yeah,
to
it's about magnitude 9. So, it's right on the edge of what binoculars would be able to. You'd have to be in super dark skies for binoculars, but with a backyard telescope, you could pick it out under
You
darker.
can. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that. That's cool.
Yeah. So that is the view. So if we go back to our sky view, boom, magically going back. There we go. There. So there we are. This is the setup again. What we're seeing this morning, April 25th. Now, if we magically go forward in time, a day, watch what happens to the moon. So this is Monday morning tonight. Then tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning, the moon will now be wedged in between Venus and Mars. Right
And
there.
this
That
is
look.
all because of proximity. The moon moves faster because it's closer to us.
Bingo, exactly. So we readily see the movement of the moon from night to night. And what's interesting is, of course, Earth is moving in its orbit around the sun. And so as it does, Venus and Jupiter will appear to be converging. You'll just keep watching
Right.
this. So you'll see this is Tuesday. And then, of course, what we're really excited about here at AWB is, of course, the next day, Wednesday, April 27th. You have this beautiful clustering of the crescent moon and Jupiter and Venus, the two very brightest planets that we can see from our vantage point here on Earth. And it's just a gorgeous collection. And we're hoping that everyone can go out and take a photograph. Now, you can use nothing more than really just a smartphone to take a photograph of this. It's really easy. I've got my smartphone ready. These newer ones are
Yes,
they're
we feel
amazing, aren't
the
they?
same.
Yeah, you have one
They
of those.
are. And I took my smartphone to space with me, and again, just some beautiful photos. And the other day, at the beginning of the month of Global Astronomy Month, I took the conjunction, the beginning that we were talking about with Saturn and Mars with my phone, and I could easily see what you're talking about. But now I'm really excited because this is, when you're dealing with Jupiter and Venus, like you're saying, the two brightest, and then the crescent moon. It's just going to be so beautiful. So I'm really excited about the fact that we have the Beauty Without Borders photography event where people can go and snap this moment in time, and then share it with the world, because perspective wise, it'll be slightly different depending on where you are in the world, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So, you would see the angle of how these three are positioned and slightly different. They'll all be clustered no matter where you are. It'll
Mhm.
appear clustered together, the three objects, but the orientation will be different slightly depending on the latitude. How far north of the equator you are, close to the equator or south of the equator, it will change. And that's what's the part of the why we called it Beauty Without Borders, because this change, right, of the
Yeah.
orientation, but yet the same objects. And if we're
Yeah.
asking people to use their smartphones, use your phone, snap a photograph, and log on to our website and just just share it on our photo library, and folks can actually get to see how that orientation changes from all the different submissions from around the world. It really
That's really
showcases,
fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun.
And so I'm excited to do that. I'm excited to try and snap my photo this week. I'm traveling, so and again, what I love about this is that it doesn't matter. The only limiting factor is weather, because it's bright enough to see even in an urban environment.
Exactly. And in fact, I've got a really neat photo here. Let me try to share this here. Let's see. Look at this. This is a photograph taken by our AWB National Coordinator for China, Jeff Dai. Fantastic guy. He's an
Wow!
accomplished astrophotographer. He specializes actually partly in using smartphone and DSLRs. And he captured this on Saturday morning. And
Wow!
he just fantastic. So I look at that. You see Jupiter, Venus, Mars, Saturn, and then the brilliant moon there pinning down this beautiful alignment. And this
Wow!
is taken from in
Beautiful.
China. He's been sharing it all around. This is from spaceweather.com. Fantastic. A lot of our members are on there sharing. Jeff Dai, taken on April 24th. Lake Nian in Hunan, China is where this photograph was taken. Just a beauty, just a true beauty.
No, I know, before, sometimes having a photo, when you take your photo, having some kind of, like, tree or something, close by helps. Is that the case this time? Like, that one, obviously, you can see, the landscape and things, but, because it's so close to the horizon anyways, I imagine people are gonna snap photos with something in the photo. Does that help
Yes.
at all?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. When you have a foreground object, it really brings perspective and beauty to your shots, rather than just zooming in on just the pinpoints of light and the crescent moon very close. I mean, that has its own wow factor too. But I think really to bring perspective is to bring that foreground objects, just like what Jeff did in this particular one. He's done it in a beautiful way. You see the lake, and in fact, you see the reflection of the planets. That's what makes it even more, in
It's it's
uh,
gorgeous.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's awe-inspiring. Definitely
So
is.
a little bit of, and that's one of the things that I did when I went outside, and that's why it took me so long to get it. When I first went outside at the beginning of the month to see that the first conjunction, I was in Colorado and the alpine trees, and having to kind of like move to the right location to be able to like get a good perspective and photo. And so that's something where it'll be early morning, but don't be afraid to take a step over, and walk a little bit in your neighborhood to get a beautiful perspective. And so, yeah, right there, you can see I had the tree there and making it part of the photo. And so I think that that's kind of part of the fun. And so I'm already thinking tomorrow, I'm like, I'm going to be in LA. Maybe I'll be able to get some of the buildings in the shot with me.
Yeah, I think it'll, yeah, exactly. And if you are in an urban center, I mean, to me that just adds to it too. It tells the story,
Yeah.
and it brings that special perspective and I have to tell people is that it doesn't matter. You don't have to be out in the countryside in a dark area or anything. And this is the type of event that you can be literally any kind of sky. As long as you've got clear skies, you have an unobstructed view. That's important. Unobstructed view towards the
Yes.
southeast. Timing is important. You're talking about an hour to 30 minutes before sunrise. So you have to find out what your local sunrise is. A great website that we partner with, timeanddate.com. The folks at Time and Date are great because this is what they live and die by is providing information of time zone differences, right? It could be very confusing. I know, Cyan, you probably experienced that with your SpaceX expedition, right? Is like knowing
Oh,
when timing of everything, right?
we had to go off a calendar because you're orbiting the planet every 90 minutes, because a lot of times people are like, well, what was a day like? Well, a day, you're orbiting so many times that the sunrises and sunsets that you just go off of the clock instead, which is a different perspective because we're used to having a day be set by sunrises and sunsets.
That's right. So here's just a snapshot of their website. I highly recommend people go there, and you can convert all your time. Also, of course, finding out about your sunrises. Calculating the sun information. When does it rise? When does it set? This is critical information, and being able to time that perfect astrophotograph of being able to capture the conjunction is knowing when your local sunrise is. So where are you located, Cyan?
I'm going to be in Los Angeles. And, again, the nice thing is you can plan, right? So then I can also get the weather and know tomorrow,
There
what
you
is it
go.
going to be like?
6:10 is your sunrise, Cyan. So
Oh,
you want
actually,
to
I should say tomorrow I'll be in Phoenix. So, but it should be because I'm flying out in the morning, and then I'll be
Phoenix.
in LA the next day
There we
for
go.
the.
Phoenix. Okay. So,
Well,
sunrise is at 5:46 in Phoenix.
so early. And but I'm gonna try and look. So really, we're looking over the next couple of days. But
That's
like you
right.
said, the main day is going to be 2 days from now, the
Wednesday.
27th,
27, correct. So
Wednesday.
you want
Yes.
to, yeah. So Wednesday. So really the sweet spot would be around 5 to 5:15 a.m. And you want to
Okay.
make sure that, if you can get that eastern that view towards the eastern horizon, southeast eastern horizon, you'll know you're looking at the right spot when you see Venus, because Venus is so bright, right? I mean, Venus will be the brightest star-like
Yes.
object. It's like a beacon. And of course, the moon, that beautiful
And
crescent
that's
moon, right?
and
So
then
those,
and Jupiter will be just a little bit between the two of them and off just slightly to the side, or just north of
exactly,
the crescent moon. But
exactly.
again, that depends on your latitude. Can you go to the Astronomers Without Borders website and show where do you put where do you submit your photo?
Exactly. So here we go. We're going to go there now. I'm going to pop that in here. So there's our front page,
Yep.
Astronomers Without Borders, all the information of all the good stuff that we do. And there's a preview of our event today. It's the top news, our event, what we're doing right now, our live stream. And then just go and click on that link and you get Beauty Without Borders. You can also get it from the drop down menu. Just go to Programs, Global Astronomy Month, and there's Beauty Without Borders. Easy as that. And we call it, of course, Encounter of Planets. And there's our sponsors, Time and Date and Celestron, that are
Yep.
partnering with us. We'll embed this live stream. So if this is going to be here for post, there's our other videos. Our partners at Celestron also made a wonderful video on how to observe planetary conjunctions, not just in this April. I mean, it focuses on this, but generally why they occur, how they occur, and how best to use different equipment like binoculars, telescopes, if you want to get a zoomed in approach. And then all about how to capture the conjunction, all kinds of great information provided by our astrophotographer experts at AWB. All our national coordinators around the world chimed in on some of the best ways to use your smartphone to capture and what to expect. There's our time and dates where you can get your own maps of the sky, of whatever. And we have something special, Cyan. I don't know if you
Whoa.
this is brand new, just off the press. We folks at Celestron, our sponsor, were so sweet. They've got their design team to make special T-shirts to commemorate this
Oh,
planetary
that's great.
conjunction.
That's
So
fantastic.
we have a set of these. I'll just click on one, and this is on the Celestron's shop. But 100% of the proceeds are going to AWB and all the wonderful nonprofit work we do around the world with STEM
I
education and
love
design.
it. I love it.
Isn't
I'm
it
definitely
gorgeous? Look at that. And there's a riff on our logo that our Japanese national coordinator produced. And it says AWB Sustron, Beauty Without Borders. And you can get, for men's, women's, kids, you can get T-shirts, a V-neck.
oh,
You can
I
get,
think it's
so
great.
you can get hoodies, pullover hoodies, everything for this. So we're really happy, different colors. So we invite people, if you want to show your support and you have participated in this wonderful thing, get a T-shirt. It's kind of fun. It's a fun way to remember this wonderful event, especially if you take your own photograph. It would make a great gift.
I'm totally going to get one. And then I know somewhere, someday, I'm going to be traveling and somebody's going to be wearing that T-shirt or that hoodie. And I'm going to be like, hey, I participated in that. I know exactly what that is. And so that'll be fun.
Yeah, so we've got that. Let me just go back to our page. So we have all of that. And then underneath here is where the collection of all the photographs will happen. I've posted already kind of a simulation of what to expect, just what
Okay.
we're showing here. But this is where all the photographs where you'll be able to create your entry and just
Okay.
pop in your stuff right there.
So at the bottom of the page, you go to create your entry and
That's
just
right.
submit. And you
Yeah.
can do that right off of your smartphone where you've taken that photo. So everybody, please take the time to go and see this wonderful event that's happening on Wednesday morning.
This is it. And just a little bit of the show won't be over either, because if you do have a telescope or binoculars, and I think Sian, am I right that you have some telescope and binoculars handy?
I have my binoculars right here, and these are the ones that I used earlier in the month. So I'm taking them with me, and then I have my telescopes, but I a little too hard to pack my EWB. This is one that you can take with you, but I'm going on a plane, and I'm like, next time when I'm
Next,
home for the next big celestial event we talk about, I'll be
right.
home and use my telescope.
Well, this is on again April 27th, and then just quickly, this is Thursday. The moon's now bowing out of the show, and then look at Jupiter and Venus, and then that is Friday. Look at that.
Wow, that is going to be just spectacular.
You see that? And this is the
Yes.
view. This is the view through binoculars. Through
Yep.
binoculars, you'll be able to separate it like that, and
Okay.
then through a telescope, then you'll get something like that. And look, you'll be able to see
Whoa,
the disk of Jupiter. They should both fit in to the same view.
that's going to be beautiful. And what day is this?
This is Friday and Saturday. So
Oh, I'll
April
be
30th
home.
and May 1st. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will be home, and I will. This is a good challenge for me. I'll be home, and then I can take my Celestron telescope and set it up and try to capture that.
Yeah.
Oh, now you're giving me. I got some early mornings. I'm gonna have to get my tea or coffee ready every morning for that. But luckily, the weather's perfect. It's spring going into summer, and I mean we're already heating up here in Phoenix, so no need for my beanie. I can just roll out of bed and go and take a look.
Yeah, yeah. And what's interesting? I've had feedback from some folks that, they're literally not even getting out of bed practically. They just happen to have an southeastern view
No.
through their bedroom window, and they can actually see this occurring, this show.
I
Outside.
tried it, but I have a big tree that blocks it. So I actually
Ugh.
have to go outside and basically across my little street to be able to see that. But how's the weather up where you are? Because you're in Canada. So hopefully it won't snow.
Yeah, you know what? This is what's so crazy. Yeah, I'm in Montreal, Canada, and yeah, and not just that. I live in a forest, basically, in a white pine forest. So, I'm the night sky guy, and here I am in the
You have
middle
to
of
go
a fort, not
somewhere.
conducive for night sky watching. So I have to. Luckily there's a little lake that I go to, and so my plan is if I got clear skies, I'm just waiting for some clearing, and I'm gonna take a tripod. I've got a little gadget to hold a clamp to hold my smartphone, and I'm
Hmm.
gonna try different things. And whatever I get, I'm gonna be posting to. AWB folks community will see it. We invite people to join our community too, because once you join, you'll get to see all the postings, the member postings, and that's where
Yeah.
it gets really interesting being part of AWB community. So I'll be posting my stuff along with all the other folks, and they're doing. It's not just photography, and I think Cyan, you'd like this, is paintings,
Yes, which is
drawings of the
beautiful.
conjunction.
Yes, and that's that, again, it's that capturing that beauty however, you can, and that's one of the things I love. And it's free to join. So those of you that are listening, so take a moment, join, become a member, and start getting into astronomy and the lovely night sky, just like I am. So, Andrew, this has been awesome as
It
usual.
has. Yes,
And
thank you. This has
and
been
I look
great.
forward to seeing all of the posts over the next couple of days.
Yes, it's going to be busy, and we invite people to just participate. It's easy. I've got the link just down underneath here. That goes
Mhm.
to our GAM calendar, Global Astronomy Month calendar. You'll see other events there along with the Beauty Without Borders. They're all clickable, and you can see even upcoming, just a teaser, we're going to have a partial solar eclipse in southern South America, visible from Argentina and Chile, your old hunting grounds, right? Uh,
Yes, I've
Chile?
been to Chile many times, and I can't wait to go back.
Well, beautiful deep partial eclipse will be visible from both of those countries, and we're going to have live streams coming from
Oh,
our
yes.
AWB national coordinator in Argentina, many telescopes that will be live streaming across the southern part of South America. So stay tuned. That's on April 30th, so you don't want to miss that.
Sounds great. All right, well,
Cyan,
have a great
thank
day,
you.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and to everybody that's listening, keep looking up and enjoying the sky.
Yeah, everyone, take care. And as always, here at AWB, as we say, one people, one sky, and we all wish every one of you clear skies. Bye
Bye.
bye.
从蓝色的小点到远方的恒星，我们是同一群人，拥有同一片天空。A highlighted contour of downward sea-level peaks moved exactly and lyrics of the Berharga nilai nokta dua setarung tak han ek kon ek asman. From the pale blue dot to the distant stars, we are one. One people, one sky.